Welcome to Road to Recovery.
Welcome to Road to Recovery, Advocacy and Insights for Trucking Accidents with Sagi Shaked. Sagi is founder of Shaked Law Personal Injury Lawyers and is ranked as one of the top 100 trial lawyers in the United States by the American Trial Lawyers Association. With a wealth of experience in personal injury, wrongful death, and complex litigation cases, he passionately advocates for victims and has recovered multi-million-dollar settlements in damages for his clients. I'm Heidi Mack, and today we're talking about blind spot crashes. When a truck driver says they just didn't see you, what does the law say, and what do victims need to know? This episode is called Blind Spot Crashes, when truck drivers say they didn't see you. Welcome back, Sagi. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for having me, Heidi.
So, what are blind spots or no zones on a commercial truck, and how big are they?
Yeah, so when we deal with commercial trucks, a lot of times you hear about blind spots. They're really called no zones, meaning there are areas around the truck where the driver's view is limited or blocked. So these are what you call the danger zones, right? No go zones. Do not. Well, I don't even like driving near trucks just because I see so many of these things and horrific accidents. And, I've seen them where they have, wheels fly off and just, it's really bad. So when we think about the blind spots, directly behind the trailer, they usually don't have cameras there, so they can't see along both sides, especially the right, because think the driver's here, the driver can see on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, they just don't see as well. So between the mirror, there are certain blind spots, and they can extend 30 feet behind to 20 feet in front and a full lane wide on either side. So you really have to be careful near a truck because the drivers, there are spots they just can't see.
Are they trained to check these areas, and how often do they fail to do that?
So yes, the drivers of these commercial trucks are supposed to be trained, and they are trained for that, hopefully. They're supposed to specifically check those mirrors and blind spots before turning. And you'll see them sometimes. There are cameras that record these crashes. We have one we just got last week where you can see it's exactly this case. The truck driver just didn't see what was in the truck driver's blind spot. But there are federal and state regulations which require that the drivers, just like you're driving a car, they routinely check their mirrors and safety, the safety to make sure they're safely going into the lane. Now, sometimes they don't do it because they're distracted. A lot of times you see it when fatigue kicks in or they're rushing. Sometimes people are rushing and they make mistakes, like the case that we just got. And so it really depends on the company, the trucking company. Some of them have stronger safety cultures, and so they push more on the training. And then others don't. They're fly-by-night type of companies or mom and pops, meaning you just have a driver who owns the truck and they're driving, and safety is important to them, but not the way some of these other companies take their safety culture.
With them, being trained to do so, can they still be held liable even though they said that they claimed that they did not see the other vehicle?
Yeah, absolutely. Even if they didn't see the vehicle, it's still their responsibility to see them. So if they know they have a blind spot, they got to maneuver safely into the other lane. The I didn't see you defense is not a valid defense. It's basically a defense. You use poor judgment. You just didn't pay attention, and that's really what caused it. So anytime you have a case where they say, I didn't see you, people don't just come out of nowhere. It's not like a Martian zapped them and put them in that specific lane. It just doesn't happen that way. Cars are usually there for a while. And then this is where, those video cameras play a really
Mm.
big deal.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say with, like, new technologies. I'm assuming, like, most vehicles, a lot of buildings, everybody has some kind of camera. How much of a role do these play in these cases?
Yeah, so you'll start seeing now. So I started practicing in 2000, early 2000.
Mhm.
I graduated in 99. So dash cams were not a big thing. Now you can literally get a dash cam, at any store that sells electronic equipment. and put it in your car. So you start seeing a lot more dash cams in cars, but you're seeing them a lot in trucks, the interior and the exterior. Interior of the cab where you see the driver, and the exterior where you see front, forward, or to the side. And that could show you what was the truck driver doing. We've had truck drivers that fall asleep while driving. We had one guy, it was funny, he was actually talking on the cell phone with one hand, didn't have a seatbelt on, and clearly just upset and before the crash at the person he was talking to. And then after the crash, he throws the phone down and quickly puts on his seatbelt as if he was driving safely. So those things can help document what's going on inside the cab. So really, really important to make sure you request those dash cam videos.
So then, do you see common fact patterns when you see like a sideswipe or a merging crash with these trucks?
Yeah, so a lot of times you'll see the trucks merge or change lanes without proper signaling or checking their mirrors. That happens. A passenger vehicle driving in the no zone will get sideswiped or forced off the roadway.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes the trucks drift or veer unexpectedly. You see that a lot with the drivers who have fatigue or sleep apnea. And crashes sometimes happen when you are coming off or on an exit ramp. You
Mm.
see cars that are not, the trucks just don't see them, and they cause a crash. So the truck drivers really need to take a step back and make sure they're going into the lanes properly when they know there are blind spots. So it happens a lot. It's almost always the same, merging into someone else's lane without putting their signal on, or just not noticing the person in the no zone, in the blind zone.
When a truck does sideswipe a car or force it off the road, what kinds of injuries do you usually see that are most common?
So most common, the ones that we get at the office are, a lot of them are traumatic brain injuries and concussions, neck and back injuries. Depending how bad the impact was, did they cause them to go into the other lanes? We have one where they cause the car to go into a ditch and smash into a ditch. You can get some broken bones. We've had where there was rollovers. So you can get up to fatalities, people getting ejected from vehicles. It can get really bad for victims, as far as what I've seen.
Can the design of the truck or trailer affect blind spot safety then?
Yeah, it absolutely can. So when you talk about the design of the mirror or the window size or the use of a blind spot detection technology, we see that in cars. A lot of cars now, there'll be like a little triangle or a little buzzing sound or a little flashing in your mirrors that'll go off if you're drifting or if you're going into a specific lane. So the technology can definitely help avoid this type of crash. You see it a lot. There'll be sensors that will help tell if someone's next to you, if you're driving. You see this in car too. And the problem is you'll see a lot of the older trucks that are still around. They don't have the new technology. So, and then if the driver is not extra careful in those trucks, a lot of collisions to occur.
So then how can you prove a driver was negligent even if there was no eyewitness to this?
So sometimes you don't have an eyewitness. A lot of times you don't, and sometimes you don't even have the cameras. Or that's the way we did it when I first started about 25 years ago, back in 2000. So we're looking at the physical evidence, the vehicle positions, the damage patterns on the vehicle, debris on the roadway, the skid marks, the markings on the roadway. Again, if we have surveillance or dash cam, that would be huge and helpful. The black box data recorder. And then I would look at the driver themselves. There's the driving logs that they have to maintain. Did they do their pre-trip inspection? Maybe their mirror was turned inwards, and that's why they didn't see the crash occur. I would get their cell phone records, prior safety violations. Um, Definitely hire in one of these cases an accident reconstruction expert if you don't have a clear video showing you how the crash occurred. So you can put the pieces of the puzzle together. Everything in that preservation letter helps us put it all together so we can tell a story, because that's what it's all about, telling the story of what your client went through and how the crash occurred and what the injuries are.
And for everyone listening out here, then, what's your message to crash victims who were told you were in the blind spot?
So yeah, that's a typical thing that we hear with people who are unrepresented. The insurance company adjuster, basically, you were in the blind spot. So it doesn't mean that we're at fault. You got to take some blame. You should know not to be in the blind spot. I mean, that's not what the commercial motor vehicle, when you go, the driver's manual teaches you when you're driving a car. Hey, beware of these blind spots. Don't let the insurance companies or trucking firms let you take blame for what they did, which will cause the crash. Your injuries and your rights matter, so go see a lawyer that handles trucking cases. Don't just go and any type of lawyer. The lawyer you get matters. It's sort of like what I tell people with we use MRIs or we use cars. Not all cars are the same, just like not all MRIs are the same, and equally, not all lawyers are the same. Some lawyers will get you a result, and some lawyers will get you a spectacular result. So that's kind of what I would say the message is. Don't let them fool you and say, hey, just because you're in the blind spot, you have any responsibility there.
Thank you so much. So, blind spot crashes are preventable, and truck drivers are responsible for knowing their surroundings. If you've been injured in one of these collisions, visit shakedlaw.com, that is SHAKED law.com, and connect with Sagi today. Thanks for joining us on To Road to Recovery. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Thank you so much again for joining us today, Sagi.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.